Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan. That's Tyler. That's Jordan. We're going to do something we haven't done in a long time, and that's go through our collective power rankings. We came up with these as a table, but there was very little disagreement, so we're all really on the same page with these. Not going to waste any more time. Let's get into this.
Should we start with 10 or 1? What do you guys want to do?
Let's go one.
Oh,
Really?
okay.
I kind of want to work our way down.
Okay, don't listen to me then.
You
Why
work
why'd
it
you
out.
ask questions?
Hey, let's vote. Who wants to do start from 10?
Democracy.
I'll start from 10.
I'll start from 10.
Let's start from 10 then. All right. So
Switch
number
my vote.
10, we have the Rams. So you guys talk about them first, and then I'll add on if you need to. So one of you take over.
This one could be more of a judgment move because as a Bears fan, I just watched the Rams slam my team, so that was tough for me. But they did look good, and they had that good motion with the wide receiver flying across on that sweep, and then like they that kind of package that they brought was very good, and it kept the Bears on their toes. So very good game plan, and then of course that defense playing very well. Aaron Donald being Aaron Donald, and I think just after last week, they deserve to be up there, and especially everyone in this NFC West division deserves to be up there.
You'll see a lot more of that division.
Yeah, we'll see two more coming up soon. So I think that they are worthy of a 10 spot.
Yeah, just building off of that, the Rams, they looked good on Monday night. I think that they're right in the mix in that NFC West. They're 5-2, and Seattle's 5-1 right now. So a half game back of first. That's going to be an interesting division to watch. If their defense plays the way they did on Monday night, with Aaron Donald and other guys too making plays, Jalen Ramsey had a pick. If the guys who are supposed to make plays and have an impact to do that, this team could do really well. And I picked them all to do last year, and they flopped on me. And this year I picked them to finish last in that division, and they're looking pretty well. So yeah, I have a hard time picking the Rams, but I think they're a top 10 team.
Yeah, and offensively, schematically, they've been improving. Sean McVay's doing things to get the offense better. We saw that on Monday night. We've been seeing that throughout the rest of the season. So they're looking good. Speaking of the NFC West, our number 9 is another one from that division. It's the Cardinals. At number 9, their highest spot in probably the power rankings in a long time. They played well against the Seahawks, offensively and defensively, as we saw in that overtime against the Seahawks. They beat the team that was number 1 for a lot of people on the power rankings.
Yeah, number one, and they were undefeated, and they were number one for good reason. They're playing very well. Of course, their defense is not good, but Russell Wilson was playing like an MVP candidate, and he still is an MVP candidate. Don't worry about him. We'll talk about Russ in just a bit. But the Cardinals, they looked really good. Credit to their defense. Credit to Kyler, but especially credit to their defense. They really stepped up in that overtime, and they looked more like a complete team. They dropped some bad games, but another reactionary pick. You had a really good week against a really good team, so we put you at 9.
Yeah, when you beat a good team like Seattle, like think about like college football, you get a win over a high quality team, a ranked win, if you will. You're going to move up a lot, so I think that's why the Cardinals are probably jumping into the top 10 for pretty much almost every power rankings you see. I guess they looked good. Their defense stepped up when they needed to with the 3 interceptions and then the big stops in overtime. And yeah, really a statement win over the Seahawks. And like the Rams, they're right behind them, a half game back at 5-2.
Yeah, they're looking good. So I would be excited if I was an Arizona fan. Next game, or not next game, we're used to doing the picks.
Yeah.
But next team is number 8, is the New Orleans Saints, and I'm going to let Ryan take this one over to start us off.
Yeah, some people are probably going to say this is a little too high because the Saints haven't looked that great, but they're a team that you know that they can get the job done. They got the win against Carolina last week, even without having, or even with not having Michael Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. So it was a lot of Jared Cook, a lot of Alvin Kamara, but that's nothing new, especially the Kamara part. I trust this Saints team. I have a lot of faith in Drew Brees and Sean Payton. I think they both have one big run left in them. I've been saying that since the summer, so I really have not as many concerns about the Saints team as some other people around the around the league and in the media do. I still think the Saints are going to be more than fine and win this division, and I think this is a good spot for them in the rankings.
Ryan, you said that perfectly. I'm not going to add to it. Just I second what he said.
Yeah, I mean, just to add on to a little bit from me, at least, defensively, it's been a bit of a struggle, but they've been getting better as the weeks have gone on.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm starting to feel more confident about this team.
And
offensively, they've been doing what they've been doing without Michael Thomas, and he'll be back soon, as you mentioned. So that kind of is an added bonus to be like, Michael Thomas should be back. This team should be pretty good at number 8. All right, number 7 is the Baltimore Ravens. Ryan, I know you're not very high on the Baltimore Ravens in general.
You want them lower.
Not like I'd have them in the top 10 still, probably.
But they've been playing well so far, and they got a big game coming up against the Steelers. Lamar hasn't been exactly what he was last year, but still playing well, more of a pocket guy, which is better to see. Defensively, they're playing well. Once again, no surprise. Very good defense. Some new additions as well that have been doing well.
Yeah, I think that you could easily rank this Ravens team higher in the
Yeah.
power rankings. I think they have talent on both sides of the ball. They might just be the most rounded team in the NFL.
No, I
Of
don't
course,
think so.
their wide receiving core is not good, but
They have
a
one of
good
the best
offense.
rosters as a whole.
Yeah.
Maybe on paper, at least, like hypothetically, but I don't think so.
Well, he has his problems with the Ravens in general, but that's just my opinion. I think they are possibly the most rounded team based on their offense playing good, and they have a very stacked defense as well. So they definitely could be higher, but 7's not a bad spot, especially since they were just on bye. We watched some good teams that we'll see ahead of them get some wins. Some of them, not all, getting wins, but most of them, and they're deserving of being in this area, and maybe a bit higher.
Yeah, and I will say we'll know a lot more about this Ravens team after they play Pittsburgh. I feel like, and if they win that game, I'll give them credit. I'll say props to you. I did not see that coming. But if they lose, then you begin to have some more questions. But yeah, not as high on the Ravens as the two people at the table with me. But time will tell if my opinions will change on them.
Even if they do lose, but at the time they played the Chiefs, they lost to an undefeated team, I believe, too.
Yeah, but that's
so
week
they lost to
3.
two undefeated
Okay,
teams.
but yeah.
I mean, technically. So a lot. The theme here is going to be these teams could be higher up on the power rankings, but this is just tough. It's all so close right now. But let's keep going up the rankings here. At number 6 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Once again, another one where you could say they should be a lot higher. They had a dominant performance against the Raiders. They beat down the Packers 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
They're looking a lot better. Their defense is one of the best in the
Yes.
NFL. I just want you guys to talk about all about their offense that you want because it's great. But their defense has made such an improvement. The defensive line specifically, stopping the run like there's no tomorrow. They held Josh Jacobs to very limited yards last week. And the secondary as well is ball hawking. They got guys making plays all over the place. Really exciting defensively. You guys talk about the offense.
Well, I mean, if you've been paying attention to football, you've seen this offense. Tom Brady is playing much better. Of course, that Gronk and Tom connection is getting back a bit more. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, the addition of Antonio Brown to come, and some other names as well. Running back Ronald Jones, he's turned it up this year. Leonard Fournette, he hasn't got that much time, but he's still a good back. I mean, this offense looks really good. The problem with them is that they're kind of been inconsistent, and I say that because of the Bears game. So if they can keep playing like they are, they're definitely going to get higher in our rankings. But for me, and I think for us across the table, we'd like to see a bit more consistency, maybe one more week of them having a really great week. And if they do that, then they'll prove it to me and the table.
Yeah, and when we make these rankings, we look at right now, correct?
Yes.
So I think when you evaluate right now, you say there's potential
Right,
there,
Tyler?
but they do have.
I mean, all rankings are different. But
Yeah, but they do have 2 losses. Let's remember that they lost to the Saints and they lost to the Bears, so that's also another factor when we make these rankings. Because if things don't go well as times, you can't rank things certain positions. But in all retrospect, I think you have to look at this team and be like, okay, there's talent on this roster on both sides of the ball. They might have the best, top 4 receiving unit in the league once AB arrives. So I really think that team's going to be good, and watch out for them down the stretch. Not much else to say.
Yeah. Once again, another team at number 5 that you could argue would be higher after their first loss last week against the Steelers. It's the Titans.
I'll just say really quick. What happened in that game was Pittsburgh got ahead early, and then that takes Derrick Henry out of the game because then you have to throw the ball more if you're Tennessee because you're down 3 scores at halftime. So that's really how Pittsburgh won that game, and that's just my concern with the Titans. When you take Derrick Henry out of that game, if he's banged up or if he's just gassed from being the workhorse, can they do it? At times I think they can, but I also think there's times where
They cannot do it.
There's times where they cannot do it. Ryan Tannehill, he's actually kind of beaten my expectations a little bit, where he's not just a game manager, but I still wonder, will he always be able to provide that extra juice if Derrick Henry's not able to perform or banged up or whatever. But yeah, Titans are still a good team. They battled back against Pittsburgh, but I just have some questions about them because some of their wins they've gotten very, very, very close to having to go the other way.
Yeah, we have them at 5, coming off a loss to an undefeated team, the only undefeated team, might I add, left in the NFL. So you dropped them a bit more. You put them at 5. They still have a good roster. Derrick Henry's a beast, of course, and I like this team. I was not high on them coming into the season, but they have proved me wrong so far.
Yeah, I don't like the term game manager. I know you weren't trying to pin Ryan Tannehill as a game manager, but all quarterbacks have to manage the game. And I'm sick and tired of Ryan Tannehill being being put on him. because that's not what he is. I mean, at some point you can make an argument that he was, but all quarterbacks do that anyway.
Last year he probably was. in my
Sometimes
opinion.
Still,
is.
I mean, all
Sometimes
quarterbacks
he
do
is.
that. They have to
At
manage
times,
the game
no, yes, at
to
times,
win
yes.
to win the games. But he's looked really good, and let alone they have Derrick Henry, AJ Brown coming back. Their defense is all right, but that's probably why they're not ahead of some other teams ahead of them. But still looking very bright for the Tennessee Titans. Next one at number 4, another team that's defense is not looking very bright. It's the Seattle Seahawks coming off of their first loss. Jordan, what do you have to say about this?
Well, we knew the Seahawks defense was not good, so it just comes down to the offense. Russell Wilson looked really good in that first half and not so good in that second half and that overtime. I still think he's a phenomenal quarterback. He's going to bounce back. This whole team's going to bounce back. And I'm not going to make too much of an overreaction here. I think Ryan, coming into this, we thought that the Seahawks might have even been at 1 before that Cardinals game because of how good they've been playing. They were undefeated before that game. Might I remind you, Russell Wilson, he was playing great football. He still did play great football. They just did not come out with the win in the end. And credit to the Cardinals defense, like I said before. And a bit on Russ, too, as well. But they'll bounce back. And we put them at 4. So had to drop them a bit from when we had them before. But this team, I'm not too nervous about them except for the defense, which, yes, you should be nervous about that.
Yeah, this is a good team, really quick, just to add on. But you have questions. And it's, look, say Russell Wilson, makes a few mistakes because he's done great things for that team all year, so he's bound to, just have a bad throw here or there, which he did. He had the 3 interceptions, and, each one of those was a little different. But, when that happens, can the Seahawks defense, bail out Russell for, the amount of times that Russell bails out that Seahawks defense if it needs to be the other way
The answer
around
so
once?
far was
Can
no.
it happen? The answer so far is no, so that's really, if the Seahawks don't go all the way, that's probably going to be why. But they're going to make a run at the very least, and I think despite it being close in the NFC West right now, I think they'll kind of run away with that division and build separation as the year goes on. But still a very good football team, tough loss, but they'll be fine at 4.
Yeah, with the Seahawks, it's simple. It's a tale of two sides of the ball. The offense is great, limited mistakes. We saw Russell Wilson make some of those mistakes, which is not very often, but defensively, it's not there, and you'll see as we get higher up in these power rankings, these teams ahead of them have better defenses than the Seahawks. All right, at number 3
Not this team.
Yeah, maybe not this. I mean, it's
better than the Seahawks.
It's better than the Seahawks, but the Packers defense at number 3, they have not been phenomenal either. Jordan, you said something about them, so you do want to start us off with the Packers?
Yeah, so you talked about the defense. They have not been as good as they were last year, but Aaron Rodgers in this offense, they're looking a lot better than they were last year, and they were good last year. Aaron Rodgers is having himself a phenomenal year, and you know what? I'm going to turn it over to Tyler because I know he loves his team. I'm not going to take his time, so we have him at 3. Tyler, tell us why.
I mean, it's the offense. I mean, the defense isn't terrible. The pass rush is not what it was last year. The secondary isn't what it was last year.
Jair Alexander's good, though.
Yeah, Jair Alexander has been a star on that defense and will be for a long time coming. But with the Packers offense, we saw Devontae Adams come back this week. Looked better than ever, really, especially from what we've seen from this season, which hasn't been a huge abundance of it. That connection was back. They didn't even need Aaron Jones. I know it was against the Texans, so it wasn't great.
One of the worst run defenses, but still, Jamal Williams.
Yeah,
they have depth at that position.
And then Aaron Rodgers is the reason they're at number 3. He's one of the only quarterbacks I look at that I can say this quarterback can completely put a team on his back. That's what he has done for the past couple of years with the Packers when they have been good. Not necessarily this year. They have a good roster around him. Receivers are lacking. But Aaron Rodgers gets this team to number 3 with all of it. The receivers are lacking, and I got a Packers fan on the other side of the camera, shaking his head at me, but it's just the truth.
Yeah.
Well, besides Devontae Adams.
Besides Devontae Adams.
It's not a horrible unit, but
Allen
just
Lazard,
besides Devontae Adams, there's really no marquee guy. Like, there's no, solid guy. We say that's a solid number 2 receiver. They have depth at the position, and Aaron Rodgers is a guy who can, make anyone, throw, high school.
Throw out the people off
throw
the
high school
streets.
plays in there, and he'll make them look good. But, Aaron Rodgers does have that ability to make players around him better, no matter their background or their experience or whatever, wherever they came from, off the practice squad or a trade. So, like you said, Aaron Rodgers, he's so valuable to that team, and he's really why they're at 3.
Yeah, and probably that Bucs game was a fluke game for the Packers. They're a team that I feel like can roll in the playoffs, so watch out for them as we get down the stretch. These other 2 teams are teams to watch out for. Obviously, they're at number 1 and 2 in the power rankings. But the next one is the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to let Ryan start with this one. You haven't started in a bit, so.
Yeah, the Chiefs, they've been playing really well. They blew out the Broncos. They looked good against Buffalo. And they had their one fluke against the Raiders, but that was a game where they battled back, and they just got out-chiefed. They played well on offense, but the defense just let them down. But the Raiders have beaten some good teams before this year, so I really think that Kansas City will be fine. I think that as long as you have Patrick Mahomes and that offense healthy, you know, you're bound to, it's almost weird if they don't score 30 points in a game because, how do you contain, Tyreek Hill and McCole Hardman and Sammy Watkins and Travis Kelce and, what about the running game with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and now Le'Veon Bell and, you got, the best quarterback in the game arguably right now under center. And, the defense, a little inconsistent, but they have gotten better on defense over these past 2 years.
I like their defense.
Yeah. And that's really why. That's what got them over the hump last year. The year before they won the Super Bowl, the defense was lacking. They got better on defense. That's why they won the Super Bowl. Now they're a very complete team.
They're better than they were last year on defense.
Yeah, I mean, really. And a lot of returning pieces from that Super Bowl team. This is a very similar team. So, yeah, hard to put them any lower than 2. I mean, there's an argument for maybe switch Green Bay and the Chiefs. But, yeah, this Chiefs team, watch out. They could still very well be the best.
An argument also put them at 1. So.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, we'll get to 1 in a second. I'm sure you know who 1 is based on the process of elimination. But it's just look at the roster, especially the offense. It's stacked. I mean, it is for a lot of these teams that are towards the top, but especially with the Chiefs. And the defense, last year in the playoffs and this year so far, they have looked a lot better, which is huge for the Chiefs because they need some defense. They were getting into some high-scoring shootout games. If the Chiefs defense can keep doing what they're doing, they're going to be a great team and possibly get back to the Super Bowl. All right, without further ado, a little bit of a drum roll. Not really, though, because everyone knows who this is going to be.
Yeah, everyone knows.
It's the Steelers at number 1, and if you're the only undefeated team in the NFL, sorry that was just bothering me, you're going to get rewarded for it. They're 6-0. They beat an undefeated team in the Titans. And really, it's why they're so much better, I would say, is because their receiving core is really clicking now. They got Deontay.
And they have Ben back.
Yeah, they got Deontay Johnson involved. Ben Roethlisberger's back. Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool's making a quick impact. A couple other guys there. Eric Ebron at the tight end position is playing well. The run game isn't excellent so far, but they're getting it done when they have to. Ben Roethlisberger being back is huge. And the defense as well, not stepping down at all from last year. Arguably the best defense in the league right now. Definitely top 3. So there's a lot to like from the Steelers, only undefeated team in the NFL. You get put at number 1. Simple as that.
Yeah, really, you nailed it. They were able to somewhat contain Derrick Henry, held him to, I think it was 75 rushing yards. That defensive front is as good as it gets. Ben Roethlisberger is getting back to his old self. They've got a solid receiving group, and when they need that running game to work, it does. It's not elite per se, but when they need a guy to make a play, they can find that guy. Sometimes it's Claypool, sometimes it's one of their running backs, sometimes it's Ben Roethlisberger himself throwing like crazy left-handed passes. But yeah, they have won some games against good teams, and yeah, only undefeated team, solid resumes in terms of the teams you've beaten, looked really good, and hey, we could be seeing the Steelers of old.
Yeah, these 2 are professionals, they could be professionals, so I'm not going to add anything onto what they said because they said it very well, and let the record speak for itself, 6-0 or so. Yeah.
There it was. So just to recap really quickly, we'll start from 1 to end it and then go back to 10 so we can give Jordan his wish from the beginning of the video.
From the beginning.
Number 1 is the Steelers. Number 2 is the Chiefs. Number 3 is the Packers. Number 4 is the Seahawks. Number 5 is the Titans. Number 6 is the Buccaneers. Number 7 is the Ravens. Number 8 is the Saints. Number 9 is the Cardinals. And number 10 is the Rams. So there's our top 10 of the NFL power rankings. We could have done more, but we simply don't have time to do that. So there it was, the top 10. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let us know what you think of our top 10 rankings collectively as a table. Let us know yours down below in the comments. Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more football content similar to this, about lots of other things on the channel, so you can just go check it out. Like I said, like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, very important. And with that, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.